Well, first of all, most everything you've said is correct. There aren't jobs out there unless you're highly specialized. And even then, who knows? I mean, they're shipping jobs to other countries still every day. They've been doing it for the last 8 years, big time. And we've lost over 6 million jobs in 8 full years to free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing. So, you know, your family's getting laid off. It doesn't look like there's much hope for you to get a job, and that's probably so. The flip side of that is if you like the Marine Corps and you want to re-enlist, I guess you got to. You're going to have to take the good with the bad. It's a tough decision to make. It depends upon the individual, his job background, his MOS, what his experiences are. There's a lot of things that enter into it, but generally, military vocations do not cross over into civilian, and it's very hard. It's a very hard crossover. On the other hand, if you stay in, you might be goose-stepping over in Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or maybe North Korea, and you may be in the middle of a nuclear war. It's a tough decision to make, and quite frankly, it's beyond me. But the jobs aren't there unless you get some specialty that can be used, or you get some capital that you could start a little business. Otherwise, if you want 3 squares, you're probably going to have to stay where you're at. And if you're going to get a bonus, put it in gold. Buy gold coins, put them away in a safe someplace.
Betty from Southern California just chimed in, and she says that the Wall Street is is extending a 4-week rally today. To me, Mr. Chapman, is somebody out there, as you said in the past, controlling this market? Because I can't understand why the market's going up when they're reporting more jobs being lost, and they're closing down more plants and shipping jobs outside the United States. I'm very appalled as the wife of a major in the United States Marine Corps to see what's going on, not only for the civilian population, but for my fellow Marine soldiers out here, the soldiers' wives out here who feel that they're now looking at other alternatives to bring in income.
Well, it's not going to get better. It's going to get more difficult. What they're doing with purchasing toxic bonds in the market, which are called collateralized debt obligations, which are bonds that are full of parts of or whole mortgages. The government's committed to the market, the Federal Reserve has, and they're buying some of those. And so that's taking pressure off the market. The interest rates are down to around 4.5% if you have an FOIC of 680 or higher. And I don't know what the down payments are at the moment. I know that's going to get more liberal. They're talking about going back to what got them in trouble in the first place. This is the big banks. 105% financing. And I guess for that, maybe you might have to have a 680 or 720 FOIC. I don't have all the details yet. It was in this issue that we just sent out yesterday. And this is a letter I got from one of our subscribers. It doesn't live too very far away from you, Betty. And in fact, probably a half hour by car. But anyway, we keep up on that stuff, and so do our subscribers. They send us into some great stuff. But what this will do is temporarily, it'll probably keep the accelerated downside on prices in real estate, and it would probably help reduce the inventory somewhat that's out there for sale. But a lot of inventory isn't even known inventory because people have said, well, I don't think I can sell my house, I just take it off the market. So there will be over this year, maybe into next year, a slowing of the decline, but it's only temporary. It might last a year and a half or two at best, and then the prices are going lower again. What they're doing is not solving the problem. They're treating the disease. They're not going to the cause of it. What caused all this? What can we do to make it stop? What can we do so we don't do it again? They have no intention of doing that. And the reason why is they have an ulterior motive. And that motive is to bring in world government. That's what they're after. And that's what G20 is about. And as an earlier caller said, you know, $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. You know, I projected 6 months ago, among all the other economists, and they were saying the government and the Fed are going to spend $500 billion, maybe $1 trillion. Then it went to $1.2 trillion. Then it went to $1.5 trillion. And I said it's 12 to 13 trillion. They all fell out of their seats. Yesterday, all the other numbers were added up. $12.8 trillion. I hit the nail right on the head again. It could be over 15 trillion by the end of the year, and it could be up to 30 trillion next year. That means your dollar is going to continue to buy less. There's going to be higher unemployment. Your wages are going to stay stagnant, or relatively so. And all of this is going to cause hyperinflation. And it's coming. So that's where we're at, and it is not good.
We have an email question that just popped up from Mr. Garcia. Please ask Mr. Chapman, wasn't the G20 supposed to be good news for gold?
No, it was not supposed to be. The G20 is the antithesis of gold. As Betty said, if you remember, well, actually it was 3 weeks ago, they started to run the stock market up from 6,600 on the Dow, and it got up over 8,000 today. It closed just below that. And that's where resistance is in this area. And at the same time, gold went from 900 to 1,000, back to 900, up to 960, and back to 900. And why did all that happen? Because your government manipulates the markets. That's why. As Betty said, there was absolutely no reason for the market to be going up. The news is dreadful. Oh, I guess the excuse is that something is going to come out of G20, like spending trillions more dollars that are coming off a printing press that were never made by anybody but the guy who ran the press. In other words, they're worthless. It's fiat money. And so there was nothing accomplished at G20 except more of the same creation of debt and inflation. And it's not going to solve the problem. And this supposed euphoria, which is assisted by our government, ran the market up. It'll come right back down again, I assure you. And as far as gold is concerned, it'll go right back up again. Just be patient. I mean, today they said at the G20, well, you know, we want to sell 403 tons of gold, but we may need more than that. And we want to spend a trillion here and a trillion there for all these third world or other countries. Not for America, for all those other countries. So maybe we'll sell some more gold off than that. Big deal. The last time they sold gold off, before the sale came, it backed off $20 or $30 or $40. After the sale was over, it doubled. So why did that happen? Because the overhang was gone. So no matter what they sell, it's just going to make gold go higher because they have less for sale. And also, there's a thing called the Washington Agreement or the European Central Bank Agreement. And those banks, under very strict guidelines, are allowed collectively to sell 500 tons of gold a year. And last year they sold about 390 tons. Obviously, they didn't want to get rid of a lot of gold. This year, I don't know what the figure is, but it's very small. I'll guess at 100 tons. And they can't sell that gold if the IMF is selling gold. So it's gold that very well may have come to the market anyway and to be absorbed. And any selling by IMF will have to be spaced out. They're not going to dump it all in one day unless they get bids for it. So it's another Trojan horse. It's another piece of propaganda meted out by the people who are at G20.